The most news in the morning. CNN's American Morning. Weekday, 6 a.m. Eastern.
Congressman Bart Stupak out of Michigan, the pro-life Democrat who helped really seal the health care deal, received several disturbing voicemails. We have a little snippet of one just so our viewers can get a sense of what's been going on. Let's listen.
Stupak, you're a low-life, baby-murdering, scumbag pile of steaming crap. You're a cowardly punk, Stupak. That's what you are. You and your family are scum. That's what you are, Stupak. You're a piece of crap.
You also said yesterday that roughly 10 Democrats have reported threats or forms of harassment, in some cases vandalism, with members of Congress. What's going on here? And do you think congressmen and women are in danger?
Well, I think there's certainly reason for concern. There's reason for care, and both the Capitol Police and the FBI are concerned, obviously, with public officials who are participating in a democracy, take positions. Clearly, in our country, we expect that to be done in a peaceful, nonviolent way. Unfortunately, we ought to all be cognizant of the fact when we use very hot rhetoric, it can be seen as incitement to people whose judgment is not peaceful, is not nonviolent, and who either verbally or physically threaten people with whom they disagree. That's not the American way. I think in a bipartisan way, the leadership has a responsibility, and all members have a responsibility to tell Americans that's not the way we conduct our democracy.
Congresswoman Louise Slaughter, who had a couple of incidents, a brick thrown through an office window, as well as a voicemail left something about a sniper, said, quote, "It's more disturbing to me that the Republican leadership has not condemned these attacks and instead appears to be fanning the flames with coded rhetoric." But the minority leader, John Boehner, did come out yesterday and did say this is not the way to do things. It's not the American way. What do you need to hear anything else from the leadership?
Well, I think together we need to make a statement that clearly indicates that this kind of activity is unacceptable in our democracy. But we ought to also conduct ourselves individually, whether it's on the floor, on the Capitol grounds, or in our districts, in a way that not only says that, but conveys that the debate is civil, constructive. It may have very serious differences of opinion on issues, but we ought not to give rise to the fact that because somebody disagrees with us, they are somehow, therefore, should be subjected to either violent rhetoric or violent acts. And I think that we all have a responsibility to do that.
In that statement from Minority Leader Boehner, he also went on to say, after condemning what's been going on, that he said many Americans are angry over this health care bill and they feel that Washington Democrats just aren't listening. How do you address that for people who are angry and feel that their voice isn't being heard? Is there anything that can be said that would help tamp down some of this rhetoric?
Well, not to stoke it would be very helpful. The debate here has been very angry debate. Very frankly, implications of socialism, communism taking over the government, none of which is true. But we need to be very careful because while that may be perceived in the halls of Congress as simply hyperbole and debate which is hot but certainly does not encourage violence or violent actions, nevertheless can be perceived by some as doing that. Yes, it's been an angry debate, unfortunately. It should be a civil debate. There are differences. We believe this is a very good bill. And very frankly, the polling data recently indicates the majority of Americans are supporting the legislation that was passed. But that notwithstanding, whatever those positions are, we need to all make it very clear, and I think you're right, John Boehner has spoken out on this. We need to all make it very clear that violent actions, violence directed against members or anybody else in this debate is simply unacceptable in our democracy. That's not the American way.